Hello and welcome back to the next video, and now let's talk about the expanded table concept in Power BI with the calculate function. So in order to do this, I have prepared a little Excel file, this one, and you can download it from the resource section, just in case you want to have this too. What you find here is basically all the columns we have in the model. So these are all the columns, and you can see a few of them I dotted. I use a few dots just because there are simply too many of them. But the idea is that I break down here each table we have in the model by the columns. So you see, as an example, we have an employees table here. And within the employees table, we have a name, surname, ID, team, and country. And if we go back to our model, if I take this option here and take a look at our model view here, we have an employees table with exactly those columns in here, right? They are available in here. And the same is true for the other columns. Like for instance, the suppliers table, we have here the three options. And if I go back to the Excel as an example, we got 3 columns in here. For the dates column, as I said, I simply did not list all of them because they're a little bit too much. Also for the orders table, which are those columns, but simply a little bit too much. But the idea is hopefully clear. Now you see that each of those tables is part of the model. And important is, if we go back to the model, that we have relationships, right? We have relationships from the one side to the many side. So 1 to star. And that's also the filter direction. That is what is indicated by the arrow here, right? So basically we're using the employees table to filter the orders table, not the other way around. And the same is true here for the dates table. The dates table is filtering the orders table, and the suppliers table is also filtering the orders table. But the tables, like employees table and suppliers table as an instance, they don't have any relationship. So I can't filter the suppliers table using my employees table, or my suppliers table in order to filter my employees table filter the suppliers table. So both options. But this is not available because the filter currently only works from the table above basically to the table below, from the one side to the many side. And this is a little bit indicated, or what I try to indicate here. So we have columns in here for the table, and these columns affect the orders table, because here you can see all the tables: employees, suppliers, dates, and orders. So the orders table is linked to all of them on the many side, and that's why each of the columns from the employees table affects the orders table. And the same is true for each of the columns here from the suppliers table is also affecting the orders table. And the same is true here for the dates table. And of course, if you filter directly from the orders table, so from a column from the orders table, the other columns in the orders table, this of course is also affecting the orders table. So that's the idea behind this table concept here. Now let's actually explore this in here. Go back to our view here and do this maybe with the employees itself. So if I click on a plus symbol here, I will add here a new table. So I will go with my employees. Let's go on here and use the employee names, right? So I'll tick on the employee names like that. And then we can see all the employee names, Andrew, Ann, and so on. And let's just make this a little bigger so you can see that better. Let's go to the values section here, and I just increase the text size here to, let's say, 15, not 15. Okay, so we're good to go, and we see all our employees. Now, if we would like to see any kind of measure here, let's go with the total sales one more time. So hopefully you don't get tired, but simply this is the field I have. So I take this option here, and I would see the total sales. Now the total sales, remember this, as well as the total sales too as well, they are coming from the orders table, and because the employees table is linked to the orders table, it is filtering the orders table, and that is why we see here the total sales for each employee filtered, right? And here the total sales. So that works perfectly. On the other hand, if we would like to ignore the external filter context, we know we can do this using the all function and calculate. So let's do that. So let me right click on orders table, and let's do this a little bit quicker because we know how that works. So let's say here the total employee sales is equal to, and let's say the calculate function. Then we need an expression. We refer to total sales here. You can also use total sales too if you want. Here I'm using total sales. And then I say all, using the all function as a filter here and referring to the employees table. Employees table, and there actually I'd like to see the employee name. This one in here, okay? So I can do it this way. So that's basically kind of similar to what we've done before, but this time I remove the filter function actually and using the all function here directly. So the all function can return a table. We have seen this when we apply filter, because remember, when I put in a filter here, The first argument of the filter function is a table. And we used all the function with a column in the past. So the all function here within the filter returns a table. This is one use case of the all function. On the other hand, if we ignore the filter here and simply use the all function directly within the calculate statement, then this is actually a modifier, like we have seen with the use relationship as well. So this time it's not actually working as a table, even though it helps actually or returns a table here, but it actually works as a modifier. You can call it this way. And this actually works exactly the same. So it means that we want to evaluate an expression, and the modified context here using the all function is simply use all the employee names. Then we can close this parenthesis here, and I can press enter. And if we take a look at what we get as a result, if I take this option here, and let's use our employee sales. So there it is, total employee sales. I can take the option here, and you will see here that we get 1.35 million everywhere. That's exactly what we would expect, right? So far, so good. Now, what if I'm using now a different column from the employees table just to filter the data? Let's actually do that. Let's go within the employees table. If I scroll up, there's also an office country, right? So I can simply click somewhere on a blank screen, and then I take office country here. Then I would see here the office countries. Of course, I would like to see this as a table for now, so I use those two. And of course, I increase also the size here to 15. So let me scroll down here. Let me just increase the size to 15. So get UK and USA in my example. So then I maybe like to see here the total sales figure first. Let's actually visualize that. Let's go with the total sales. We would see exactly what we would expect. So total sales broken down by office country. Okay, so far so good. Now, if we now use the same measure which we have calculated here, the total employee sales in this table, what do you think what happens? We used the total employees. Let's actually take a look at the measure here and removed the filter context, right, from the employee name. However, if I take the option, use the measure here in my second table, you will see that I get exactly the same results as the normal total sales. And the reason for this is if we go back to our example here, because using the all function in the calculate, what we did was for our all employee sales, we basically removed the filter from this specific column in the employees table. But since there are other columns in the employees table, like as an example, the office country, the filter for office country has not been removed yet. That means that the office country here is still filtering the orders table, this one. And therefore, if we go back to the here, that is why we see here the split for the two different measures in here, right? So exactly as we see with total sales. So basically the all employees name is ignored because it's simply not available in here. We only filter by office country, and the office country filter is still in place. Now, if we would like to remove the office country, we could of course either use all employees and then employee for the office country. We can refer to the office country column in here, or you could also refer to the complete table. So that means if I go back to my Excel one last time, if I want to remove all filters from the employees table, which might affect the orders table, I can simply refer to the complete table. So if I say instead of all employees, I can remove the specific column, and simply refer to the complete table, like that. And if I do this, then you'll see that I don't only see the 1.35 million up there, I will also see this number down there. If I press enter, we'll see that now the same number appears here. And the reason for this is because now we remove any filters coming from the employees table which might affect the total sales here. No matter if it's the office country down there or if it's the name itself up here. Okay. Now what if we use now some kind of filter, external filter here from another table? So if, as an example, if I make this smaller and this smaller for now, if I go to my dates table in here, and I will use maybe the year. So let's say I'd like to see the year. As an example, there's my year column. I take this option, and I don't want to have this as sum. I simply want to use this as a slicer. So I go with the slicer here. And now you see here, I get my years. And of course, you can adjust the slicer if you want. For instance, a list, if you want to have it like that. Let me just check that. And maybe a little bit bigger. So hopefully you can see that better in your screens. So just a second. Go in here for text size, and let's say 2015 for now. So we got our years in here, as well as a blank in here. But currently, let's ignore the blank for now. Now the idea is, what if I filter my data based on the dates here? So if I tick, for instance, 2020, if I tick this option, now we see that the total employee sales get affected here, right? And the reason for this, one last time, I promised, is if I go back to my Excel file here, now we removed in our measure all the filters which might come from employees table, but that does not affect the other tables like this one here, as well as this one. And so if we now use the date here, so in this case the year here, to filter our orders table, then of course the orders get filtered, and it doesn't matter if there's no filter applied on employees, the orders table is still filtered by, in this case, the year column from the dates table, right? So that means, even though, as we go back in here, we have removed all the filters from a specific table, based on the expanded table concept, and that's what it's called, which I tried to explain with the Excel file, we can still apply additional filters from other tables which are connected in the model, and we still get the filtered data back, okay? So that's it for this video. So hopefully you were able to follow along. In case you got questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, thanks a lot for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.